Hey everybody, welcome back to Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
And we are here, Mary, with kind of a cool story today.
An unexpected
adventure. We've had some adventures lately in the garden. And this one's going to be one for the ages. We've not ever had this happen.
It never crossed my mind.
No, it
not
is
even a whisper.
Me either. And I guess everybody's wondering what the heck happened. We will get to that. And we'll get to a few other things. But first, I got to ask you, what's new in the garden?
Oh, man, I found 3 luscious pepper plants at HEB. They're starting to get in their fall vegetables. And I went right out there and planted them in our raised container garden. I usually do like 1 pepper per square foot. And then I got a wild notion and I decided I was going to plant some Danvers carrot seeds between the peppers and see if they'll come up.
So we're going to have carrots in between them?
We are going to have, I'm hoping to have possibly carrots. Carrots really take a little while. You know, they won't come on right away.
Now,
It'll be a little later in the year.
Will they be like a normal size carrot or like the other ones when I was growing them that were like 2 inches long?
The Danvers are a normal, nice large carrot.
That'd be cool.
But, you know, they're planted pretty close together, so that does impact their size.
Well, gosh, if it's bigger than 2 inches, yay, it'll be good.
That is an elite baby carrot that you would get in fine dining.
It was beyond baby carrot. It was ridiculous. All right.
But they, will last all the way through a good cold snap. They'll only get sweeter as time goes by. So.
Oh, my gosh. I think we are, let's see, end of August. We are months from a cold snap.
We are.
I mean, it's we're in Texas. You got to talk about the weather. So we were like blistering hot last week, over 100 every day.
I think it said 10 degrees above the average temperature for the one day that it was 106.
Yeah.
10 degrees above
it was
average.
Hot. That was hot.
Wow.
And the heat index was even hotter. But this week we're like right in 90, low 90s, maybe even the 80s at the end of the week.
We're luxuriating.
We're cruising into fall, maybe.
Cruising.
I don't believe it, but we'll see.
We even took a walk, and it was after 11 o'clock in the morning.
Unbelievable. We actually did activity outside after 11. That's a first for us in the summer.
Yes.
All right.
That was crazy.
Well, what else you got in the garden?
Okay. Well, I wanted to let everyone know that it's time to get out there and do a pre-order on your Baker Creek seed catalog for 2025. They're going to be $12.95 on the pre-order, and I think they're right around $15 on the regular cost. And this is the 500-page,
the big
huge,
one.
wonderful, full of information catalog that they present.
Nice.
Well worth it.
You love it. I know you love it.
I love it. I'm ready to start looking up all the great seeds to grow.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because this weekend we're going to be putting together some of I decided on raised beds that I really like.
Raised beds.
So we're going to put together 3 of them. And
we're going to have a helper
in the garden, and we're going to have a helper.
One of our grandsons is going to come over and help us.
Quite delighted about that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
I think it will be fun.
Yeah, we'll make a little day of it. I think it's going to be nice to have him over, and 2 of them are going to come over. One's got a little issue with his hand, so he's not going to be able to do it. But we'll have one helper at least.
We will.
So nice.
So that'll be very good, and I'm looking forward to getting some fall veggies going in the garden this year.
Very nice.
Very nice. I did spread some. It's called mesclun, and so it is like a mixed variety of lettuces that you harvest while they're kind of young and tender. But it's still pretty hot for that. I just went ahead and did it anyway. But
hey, we did get out and we did weed out, and I don't say weed. We did weeding. We got kind of cleared out any of the debris and stuff that was in the kitchen garden. kind of got it cleaned up and ready for your raised beds to go in.
We did.
So that was actually, took a lot of bags of stuff that we were able to get. So
Yeah.
okay.
That could be true. And that may play a little part in our adventures that we have to tell about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So without further ado, we got to talk about the adventure. I mean, we got it because this was one of the craziest things that we've had happen to us. I mean, that I can remember.
Oh,
and it
yes.
And you got a great story. So without further ado, I got to do the jingle. I got to do this. We got to go like the.
Yes, I love it.
Let's go into the next section, Mary. What is our topic of the day?
Our topic of the day happened. It took me completely by surprise. It was just one of your ordinary evenings. We were really enjoying. I mean, it was getting to be late in the evening, actually. I would say it was like 10:30, between 10:30 and 10:45.
It was, yeah.
And everything had been calm. Nothing out of the ordinary. And we said, you know what? It's bedtime. Okay. So we started to do all those little routine things that you do before you go to bed. Put the dishes in the dishwasher, everything. And probably 10:45 to 11 o'clock, I just opened that back door wide as anything and let the dogs run full force into the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And so there wasn't any sound that alerted me that there was a problem. The first inkling that I had that there might be a problem was a cloud of awful skunk. Awful skunk. And it came right in the back door. And, still the dogs weren't making too much noise at this point. But what had happened is, I think that they had treed the skunk against the back deck.
They did, yeah.
And then when I went out to see what was going on, then the commotion really took off. And they were yellering, and they were barking.
They were going crazy.
And
they were both going crazy. The poor skunk too. He was just, just kind of stuck there in the by the deck.
Yes, he was behind a large container planting of star jasmine and the bamboo that we had put in a container next to the deck, and he had nowhere to go. Well, the water hose was laying in the grass. Now, I could reach the faucet to turn it on, but I couldn't reach the actual end of the hose to grab hold of it. So I was grabbing pitchers of water out of the kitchen sink and trying to throw it on the dogs because, usually, even if they're excited, they'll come in.
They usually do come in, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they were so far beyond it at this time. And around that time, you came upon the scene. And it was
I did, yeah.
What's
going on? But I could smell it immediately. And then I saw them going crazy. And then the skunk actually took off for the middle of the yard.
He did.
But I was able to grab the hose.
You got yes, that's when you went down.
Yeah, I went down and got the hose. You got the water on. So we were trying to spray the dogs just to get them away from it. Luckily, which I was surprised at, the skunk was able to, they were chasing him. But he was able to get through our little fence into the garden where the dogs can't go.
Right.
But man,
towards the boundary of our yard.
Yeah, the boundary. And but man, the smell was horrific. And the thing is, it was we'd had the door open because we were trying to get them, and some of the smell was inside. It was on the deck. Oh my gosh, it was pretty horrible. But then what are we going to do? The dogs, I believe, got sprayed.
Well, I think that you actually, during all this altercation, you did get eyes on the skunk, and you were able to tell me it had a stripe.
It was a stripe.
You definitely said it was a stripe that you saw.
Your basic polecat.
your basic polecat. And yes, the dogs definitely
they
took a direct
got sprayed,
hit,
and it was gross.
which, we immediately began to research what to do.
Right.
How are we going to take care of this at midnight? And it was pretty hilarious. We were on the back porch. We were giving the dogs a bath. We found out from Cornell University a good mixture to use. And it took time. I don't think we got to bed till about 1:30.
Yeah, it took a while to get them. I mean,
night.
we're out on the back porch on the deck washing dogs in the middle of the night.
Washing dogs. Researching their shot records.
Yeah, making sure they were up. When they were, we keep them up to date, so we were good there.
What do you do if a dog gets sprayed, which is something that we're going to talk about today. A lot. We've done some more research since then as well. But I was, in our area, it's not uncommon to either drive by where a skunk has been or to see skunks along the roadway when they've tried to cross the road, or they're just not that uncommon in our area. I don't know why I never considered that they would actually come into the yard.
We've never seen them. I mean, we've never, we see them out, but we've never seen them close to us.
We've never seen them in
this was the first time.
An urban setting, I don't think. So it did take me by surprise. But we did a lot of research and we found out some pretty interesting information about skunks in Texas. And were you adding anything to our adventure that I have left out?
No, I think you got it. I mean, we definitely our dogs. I know, people have different opinion. They do sleep in bed with us. They're medium-sized dogs. So,
yes, they are.
We definitely were not getting in bed with smelly dogs. And they smelled
they weren't coming in the house.
Yeah, and they were okay. But the house itself was just, I was surprised because we had the door open. The house itself took it like a day to kind of not smell.
The next morning, we had to throw open all the windows, and we actually lit candles in several of the rooms and let it air out for clear up until maybe 1 o'clock.
And it worked, right? It worked. I mean, that helped with the house. Even out it lingered out on the deck and out on the porch, probably for another day or so.
Well, I'm thinking that the deck took a direct hit.
Yeah, I think it did.
And so that's why. And we've had some occurrence later on now. At first, the dogs didn't have a smell. But then yesterday, our daughter said, "Mom, there's something on Cookie's head."
They're starting to smell.
And so what I think happened is that they were searching out where the skunk was, and they probably rubbed their fur on the deck. I
think so, yeah. I think that's what happened.
And got it on there. Because it is an oily substance, and it doesn't go away very easily at all. And so that's part of what we found out. We did a little research super quick that evening about what to do if your dogs get sprayed, And like I said, we turned to the Cornell veterinary site, and they had some really good information.
Yeah, they did.
And I put the site in the reference of the blog post this week, too. We always try to make sure we do include where we find our information. Right. So the first thing, you want to look for is, where did your dog take the hit? If it took the hit on its body and it smells bad, but it's not really in the face area, you're pretty good for making sure to give it a good scrub and washing, get that oil off of the fur. And we're going to give you a mixture that was recommended. And so, but if it's in the face, if you notice that the eyes are becoming red, the eyelids, and if you notice that they're foaming at the mouth because the spray is very irritating, you want to be on extra guard because the spray has components in it that can actually irritate the cornea of the dog's eyes. And also, in rare cases, it can cause anemia. So if you're in doubt or if you feel worried, take them to the vet.
Right.
I mean, that is my recommendation.
No,
hands
absolutely.
down.
And we kept an eye on them. I don't.
Yes.
It didn't appear like they had got hit in the eyes,
Right.
but we definitely kept an eye on them.
Yes.
And kind of even the next morning, because I think it said it could occur like within 24 hours. So we kept a close eye on them.
Up to 3 days.
Yeah, we kept a pretty close eye on them, but they were okay from that standpoint.
Yeah. So actually what we did, you're right. We watched them very carefully. We took cold. It was out of the hose. It was cool water that didn't have any soap or anything else in it, and just rinsed their faces really good. Because the mixture that we found out about, you don't want to get it in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be super careful not to do that. And so what you do is you take 1 quart of hydrogen peroxide, 1 cup of baking soda, and about 2 or 3 drops. We used Dawn dishwashing liquid. That's what we had on hand, a dishwashing liquid. And you will create a mixture that is bubbly. Now, when it starts to foam and bubble, that's when you want to get it on the dog. We put water on the dog and got him nice and wet before we did this. And then we massaged that mixture into our dogs. Not top to tail. We avoided their face and eyes, but neck to all over.
Yeah.
And you want to leave it on for 5 minutes. And then when you rinse your dog, you want to rinse them so well. You want to take time, make sure you get everything off. One aspect of it is it could bleach out your dog, but the fur will regrow.
Yeah.
And he'll come back to his original color.
And we didn't. We did it. I haven't noticed anything on the pups.
We have not.
Yeah,
that's true. And they sat there.
Yeah,
you have to wait for 5 minutes.
They did sit there.
They didn't mind that part of it, Then after that was over, we took our regular shampoo and we gave him a whole nother bath, really, really, really good, and we rinsed them just as much as we could. And we made sure to rinse off the deck and the porch, anywhere that the mixture touched, because it could.
Because it could stain that too. Or
do that.
Discolor it. Yep.
But that was pretty funny.
That was crazy, to be honest with you.
That was crazy.
And then, for it happening that late at night honestly, we're ready for bed at that point. And then it's just like, oh my gosh, we got to go do something. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely unexpected.
It was chaotic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. But then, like we talked about earlier, you were able to pull their records up. We could see exactly what shots they have had, and they were really up to date. So anybody that this happens to, you have to make sure that their rabies is current, because skunks are a leading carrier and transmitter of rabies in Texas.
Okay.
And so I was interested to learn in this one article in the Texas Parks and Wildlife magazine that they have a program in East Texas, I believe it is, where they will put out a bait that actually has a vaccine inside of it, so that the skunks will come along and they'll eat the vaccine.
Oh, wow.
They're trying to control it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And it's been successful in other species that they have used this procedure on. So I hope they get all.
That's neat.
Get them all.
Wow, that's really cool information.
But so under the veterinary topic, Jeffy, do you think we did fair to middling?
I think we did good.
We did good.
I think we did good. I think you quickly pulled up the info as far as what to do,
what to look
what to look for, and then like you said, we keep our dogs updated, but who knows You never know. So we were able to quickly access that too to say, no, we're good on that.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think we took care of everything we needed to from their perspective.
From an odory perspective, maybe
The odor
we're
is
still working on it.
That odor was rough, but it was rough. But I think from the vet and the puppies, I think we did good.
Well, I did some more research, and I learned a few facts that I was surprised about.
Okay.
Texas actually has 5 different species of skunk, and I never considered that there might be a variety of skunk, but apparently there are. We have in Texas, it's a huge area, so our claim to fame is that we have more species than any other state, but it's 888 miles from tip to tip.
Yeah, it's a big state.
It's so big. So you might be in the Big Bend area out in West Texas, and you could run into a hooded skunk.
Oh.
And a hooded skunk looks like the ones that they traditionally show in cartoons. It has the large white stripe and longer fur. It's actually a species that's found in Mexico a lot. And so that is the hooded skunk. And then there's a western spotted skunk. Spotted skunk?
Yeah, I know you were telling me that. I've only ever seen the one with the stripe. I didn't even know there was a spotted one.
Well, they're a little bit different. There's 2 varieties. There's western and eastern. They are actually smaller and more of a weasel type shape to them. They are excellent climbers.
Oh boy.
And you actually find them in trees.
That's great.
And so they're commonly also called civet cat, which is interesting.
I've never heard that one either.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go out, and if you find holes, they're kind of conical shaped holes. It could be a hognose skunk. Interesting, right? And so they do root around for their things that they like to eat and stuff like that. But ours, I think, was your standard.
I think we had a standard
striped skunk.
I think so.
So they're more of a slower mover than the other skunks are, but they're the most populous in the United States, I believe. And they are more ground, they live on the ground, scurry along. They like to get their homes under decks or outbuildings or barns or things that are up off the ground just a little bit. They can get a burrow under there. And so, that would be the one that we found. So another thing I was interested to find out about is skunks are kind of like a good and bad type of thing. The benefit to their them coming around or whatever is they eat all kinds of insects. They eat grubs. They eat amphibians, actually.
Oh, wow.
Which we do have a lot of lizards.
We have a lot of lizards.
They eat rodents, millipedes, and centipedes. And they will come along and eat fruits and vegetables that are left on the ground or nuts and all kinds of things like that. And the bad side of that is they are very fond of poultry and super fond of eggs, pet food, and garbage. They are omnivorous, and they also are like I can't think of the word for it right now, but if they happen upon something, if they happen upon roadkill, they'll make use of the roadkill.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
Like a scavenging type.
Like a scavenger. Yeah. Wow.
So they're very prudent, let's say.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know they ate all that stuff. That's.
do.
I mean, you're right. It is I mean, if you could look at it as a good, because they are getting some things out, but they're also not. That's not their only thing. So
no, the negative also is they really smell horrible.
Yeah, it's horrific.
And they do carry disease. We don't really want them around us.
Right.
If you're out and about and you come across a skunk, leave it alone. Back away from it and go your own way and let him go his. We don't want to, if you come upon a skunk, they will actually warn you a little bit before they spray. They have 3 signs. And so the first one is they will bow their back up and they'll start to lift their tail, but they won't lift the tip of it. And if the predator doesn't back off, they'll stamp with their front feet, And then if they still feel like they are in danger and the tip goes up, you're in trouble.
Oh, wow.
The tip of the tail. Because, well, this is kind of interesting. I don't know. But they actually have nozzles that they eject the spray from.
Oh, okay.
Right? And they could get a pretty good aim at you from 10 to 12 feet away. Right? It can travel further if there's a breeze. And the other thing is they can aim it. So you could be to the left, to the right. You could even be on the other side of the skunk, and he can do a handstand and aim it at you over his tail.
Hey, that's cool.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
That was crazy. And also straight on. And the other thing is, if you think that they only spray one time, you are incorrect. They will use a specific portion at a time so that they have repeated action.
Oh my gosh.
It was very
like
interesting.
a war animal there or something.
Crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
But so you really want to take precaution.
Yeah.
Back away. And also, I didn't really understand this, but it is important for homeowners to know. There are rules about trapping fur-bearing animals. And if you have a concern about a skunk on your property and you want him trapped and removed, I would say you have to contact someone who is a professional in that area.
That makes sense.
Because I don't understand the laws.
Yeah.
I was trying to read up on it, but I didn't quite understand it.
I mean, just from it would make sense because if it's trapped, I mean, say we trap, what are we doing with it? I mean, I don't know.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think those professional services, they trap it and they know where to, how to put it somewhere or whatever they do with it.
Well, they have the protective equipment for themselves as well.
Yeah. So, good point. Good point. Yeah, I'm definitely not looking to trap one.
So, Jeffy, after we found the skunk and we spent all that time trying to get it out of the dogs, you know what we did? What are some preventative measures that you and I took in our yard to discourage that skunk?
And I think that's important, right? So it's until something comes up, a lot of times you don't address some things. And I know immediately you said, we're going to get up tomorrow and we are going to do some stuff.
We're going to do some stuff.
And you had us going. So what did you come up with to help deter?
You were immediately on going out and making sure there were no places that the skunk could actually get under our deck. Now,
that's
I don't
true.
think he was under the deck. I think he got trapped by the deck.
Yeah, he could not. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could not. The only thing that actually could have got under our deck are probably, is lizards. That's the only,
right.
There's not enough room for anything else.
No.
And I did go around and we only had a couple of spots and I tried to clean those up and fix those. But the big effort that, you talked about.
To block them, yeah.
Yeah, we blocked them, but then we did some other stuff to kind of deter them from hanging in the garden.
Well, we did. And in our case, the major thing that Jeff was talking about before was I was doing yard cleanup and I had trimmed our Vitex tree. Some of the branches were kind of in a pile, and I had some weeds that we had pulled, and we were getting ready to, put in the new raised beds. And I had pulled up some flowers that had already gone over, and I had created a pile. So that was what we tackled first.
Right.
And you were out there with the loppers, and you were cutting down the branches to a moderate size so we could stuff them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use those brown paper landscape bags that you could find at most of your big box hardware stores, they will be recycled by whoever comes to pick up your trash. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we try to do.
Yeah, and it was a good thing.
But it was a good morning's effort, and we got that completely cleared away. Mm-hmm. And I'm being very careful not to allow any type of pileup to happen. And then, we never feed the dogs outside.
No.
The only other thing is recently we did move their water bowl inside the house, another water bowl. And so, that can't hurt.
No, I think
to have that.
I think it's good. And I think the other thing, just to kind of, I know you have some more, but, we are definitely in a suburban area. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes you think just because you're in an area like this, we're not out in the country we're in a suburb.
Mm-hmm. We are.
That you're not going to see some of these things. And, we've seen a lot of things. And
we actually have seen so many
we have. We've seen a lot of critters. We've seen a lot of stuff out here. And, we are by no means, isolated. I mean, there's houses on all sides of us. Mm-hmm. So whatever these things are, they're popping down in between all the houses. So I think it's just a good reminder to think, hey, I'll never see. I mean, I would never thought we'd see a skunk. Let me be honest. And
never
there
even
it was.
Entered my mind.
No, not at all.
But now it does.
We've seen a fox. We've seen everything. We've seen
coyotes.
We've seen all kinds of stuff. So, just kind of a reminder that, I think the cleanup we did was a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. You definitely want to do that.
Because, I think it's going to help not just for the skunks, but any other little critters that like to, nestle in under those things.
Right. Especially as you enter into the later part of the year. Maybe he was out looking for a winter, something suitable for winter. I don't know. A new winter apartment.
And, it's been so hot. And I believe they're nocturnal. So it's been so hot, he's probably out there looking.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's right. Because you talked about a little tip. Yeah.
The number one thing that you can do is to shine a light. That's a huge deterrent. Mm-hmm. And now we turn on the back porch light and we get out there and shine a flashlight, the best we have right at the moment. But motion detectors are huge. A floodlight is going to be huge because their eyes are so sensitive because they are nocturnal that they will get right away from that light. So that is my major tip. And we're trying to be proactive and get out there before we let the dogs out.
Yeah, I think well, you know what? Lesson learned. That's just, sometimes that's kind of what you do. You learn and you kind of move forward. But I think it was a good lesson.
What a story.
It was.
My.
And, I think just as an aside here, I think I told you when I was growing up in Florida, we lived in an apartment complex and all the trash bins were in a, long wooden structure. And you would open up the structure and everybody put their trash in there. And, as kids, I don't know, we were 8, 9, there were skunks in there. We thought they were pets. So we used to keep them in there. We'd feed them. And we did all that until they sprayed us one day. And I think I was like, I think we're done. Then we had to go home and tell our parents what happened, that we had pet skunks. I think they were like, what are you doing?
No, that's
funny.
Not good.
Yeah. So, so I think those are great tips. I think the light is really good. Well, I think we got to maybe do some thinking about how we want to put some lights out in the garden. I did have some out there at one time that, the solar ones, they weren't great. and they didn't last that long. So I got to do a little research on that.
I think the motion detector is probably a good idea because it will cause that flash to come on and be a startling effect. And so that's my supposition anyways.
Well, we're going to do a little research and let you guys know what we come up with for that, for the lighting.
I love it.
Very good. Very good.
Now, we do have another segment.
Oh. It's magic. We have Jeff's Corner.
Jeff's Corner. I'm all abuzz.
I know.
Want to know.
The whole thing with Jeff's Corner is I don't want to tell Mary what it is ahead of time. It's kind of like my thing, and then she gets to hear from her. But what I'm going to talk about today is taking online courses through the universities. Generally, they're extension courses. Mm-hmm. And so one of our sons went to Penn State, and Penn State has an extension program. And there are several courses that you can take online, so you don't have to be at Penn State. Every university basically has these extension courses, but Penn State is in agriculture. They do have a big agricultural program. But you can go online. There's classes like plant health diagnosis, assessing plant diseases, pests, and problems. Wow. $33. You can go out there. It's a 2-hour course. You can sign on. You can look at it. They've got totally veggies, pond management. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. And I would just encourage people to, if you want to get some more information, I know, here we have Texas A&M and we're here in Austin, we're the University of Texas. They all have extension courses that you don't have to, be an admitted student to get into. And they're kind of cool. So there's a lot of stuff out there. And I know, Mary, you've talked about going in with Texas A&M especially because they're kind of our main one here. But, these classes, when I started looking at them, I'm like, oh, my gosh. There's a landscaping safety. There's a pesticides class, $16.
Wow.
I mean, these are not like hundreds of dollars of courses or anything like that. And, some are last a couple hours, some are 4 hours. So I would just encourage you out there, if you're interested, to check your local university to be honest, you don't even have to be local. Like I said, these are Penn State. You could sign up. You could take the classes. They're all online. And, they have a pretty good variety. And especially if you can find a university that has a bit of an agricultural division there, and which Penn State does. I think it's a cool idea. So you can always go out there and look. And I know here's one for Mary. I know we're not going to do it here because we're where we live, but they do have a beekeeping.
Oh, man.
But you are interested in it.
I would love to learn about it.
It's something you could certainly learn about. They got growing raspberries and blackberries, ornamental trees and shrubs.
Oh, that's what I want to do.
So there. So I found you something, and they're just unbelievably, reasonable on the price. So I would encourage you to go out there and check those universities. Like I said, it doesn't have to be local. It can be anywhere.
2 thumbs up.
There's Jeff's Corner. My tip for today.
I love it.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
All right. So what else you got?
Well, that was pretty good. That kept me busy this week, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it did.
I'm looking forward to going to some of the plant garden centers and plant nurseries around our area and starting to put in some of the cooler weather flowers. And like I said, the veggies are all coming in.
Okay.
I'm getting excited about that. Mm-hmm.
Good. Well, we haven't had a cooler run. We're down to 90. Heck, we're darn right cold out there.
That's true.
Yeah. No, okay.
That's good. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys sticking with us, and hope you enjoyed our skunked story this week. It was great.
Wow.
Like I said, that's kind of one of the things that we like to do is kind of, we run into stuff. You may or may not run into it, but at least you have some awareness now to that could be out there. Mm-hmm. Especially if you have puppies, what it'll do. But not just dogs, for your garden as well. So definitely thank you guys for staying with us, and we hope to see you here next time. Same place.
And happy gardening.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.